Welcome to another literature lecture with Professor Dennis. We're going to take a look at post-structuralism and deconstructionism. We're going to start, as always, with a PowerPoint. So for the agenda, we'll look at the definition. We'll do a compare and contrast to help give you a deeper understanding. And then we'll look at how to use deconstructionism to deconstruct a text. So post-structuralism and deconstructionism. It's really a fixed intellectual point that's permanently removed by language. Well, what does that mean? Clear as mud, right? Well, to understand that, let's look at some comparisons here. The background of structuralism is that it's derived from linguistics, whereas post-structuralism is derived from philosophy. Structuralism leans toward abstractions and generalizations, whereas post-structuralism wants to look at the more emotive, and they look at puns and wordplay. Structuralism sees the world as constructed through language, so language made our world, whereas post-structuralism is saying that reality makes language. So what you have before you, that reality, created the need for language. Structuralism questions the structuring and categorizing of reality, whereas post-structuralism distrusts the notion of reason. Is your head spinning yet? Awesome. Let's take a look at this. So structuralism looks for parallels and echoes, whereas post-structuralism looks for contradictions and paradoxes. Structuralism wants balance, whereas post-structuralism wants shifts and breaks. And these shifts and breaks are going to be in the form of tone, viewpoint, tense, time, person, and attitude. So if you can ask yourself what sort of a shift or break is there in viewpoint, then you're asking a post-structuralism question. Structuralism is going to look at reflections and repetitions, whereas post-structuralism wants conflicts. Structuralism looks for symmetry. Post-structuralism looks for absences and omissions. Structuralism wants contrasts. Post-structuralism wants linguistic quirks. This could be double meanings. How do these double meanings apply to the situation in the story to create a paradox or a contradiction? Structuralism wants patterns. Post-structuralism wants aporia, which is a declaration of doubt, a state of puzzlement. Is your head spinning? Good. That's kind of the point. So the effects for these two, structuralism wants to show textual unity and coherence. Post-structuralism and deconstruction wants to show a textual disunity, kind of like a dystopia. So the Peter Berry text tells us that post-structuralism and deconstructionism are referred to as reading against the grain, reading the text against itself, and even what he termed textual harassment. Well, what does that mean? It means that in a text, you're looking for the unconscious instead of the conscious, the double meanings using etymology, and contradicting and oppositional reading. Sound tricky? Not as much as you might think. Ever have that teacher tell you that the blue curtains were an immense depression? Well, what if the author really just meant that the curtains were blue? Well, your teacher was likely deconstructing by looking for a deeper meaning in the text, whether the author meant for that deeper meaning or not. The double meaning mentioned in that previous slide, the teacher found. As you can see, From the author's response, the author was not amused. Again, textual harassment. Steps for analysis would be to pick out a main theme. Find locations where that theme is prevalent, where you can see examples of that theme in the story. And then find the key words in these excerpts. And then you want to look at how can this word be both what it means and the opposite of what it means at the same time. An example, a major theme in Dorian Gray is the effect of time. So we have the theme, time. We have the word we're going to examine, time. The novel's title character has found a way to escape death, so his friends age while his body remains perfectly untouched. Time, our key focus word, is one of these key words to which we can apply erasure, which is where we're going to get that tricky part coming in, but it's not as tricky as you think if we keep going. Time is a theoretical concept. Here's our philosophy that no longer applies to Dorian Gray, for his portrait has made him ageless. For the other characters, time derives meaning from age. So this is how the characters get meaning for time, is because of their age. But to Dorian, the word seems to lack a trace. To him, seconds, hours, and minutes are inconsequential. Years are but a daydream. A decade is only a word to Dorian, a word without an opposite, and therefore a word without a meaning. Interesting, isn't it? All right, if you're a little confused, it's okay. Go back, you can pause the video on the steps of how to use that analysis. And then for this week, I am actually leading the discussions. So I want you to take a look at the discussion boards and see how it goes. You can also look at the example again as many times as you need to. If you have to, go back to the Berry text, reread, kind of take a look. Remember, you do not have to have these really, really strong understandings of the theory unless that's the one you're going to use for your final paper. All right, so we're just getting a taste for each one so that you can see how theory is applied, so you can apply theory to your final paper. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know.